The person chosen by fate, Yaoxing, has come to the world of ponies. Is it a blessing or a curse? With the light of bonds, illuminate all the darkness in the world. Show up. The harmonic law of bonds. At this moment, I finally understand the meaning of my existence, using the bond of bonds to bond the friendship of all elements. When the flowers bloom endlessly, love endures forever, and I will never regret it. Dusk. The 6 great sins symbolizing hell are stirring up, representing the shining stars of bondage and his friends. Can we protect this world well? Chapter 1. The Stagnant World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Before reading, the author would like to mention that due to the fact that it has just set sail, the beginning of this book is somewhat similar to Pony. The Game of Fate, and there are many downsides. If you don't like it, just have fun. Readers can rest assured that this book is definitely not an imitation. It has its own villain and system, and the subsequent plot is completely different. In addition, as long as the author is not surprised, they will always strive to update. Readers are kindly requested to provide suggestions for improving this book, so that everyone can rest assured to follow up. My Little Pony. The Bond Song. Chapter 1. The Stranded World. Step by step, in the evening, on a dark street in the city, a solitary figure was walking. In the evening, on a dark street in the city, a solitary figure was walking. Against the dim streetlights, he appeared even more lonely. His name is Yaoxing, an 18-year-old ordinary high school student. No, his life cannot be said to be ordinary, describing him as pitiful is more accurate. Yaoxing is constantly being bullied on campus for no reason every day, with teachers ignoring him, serious family conflicts, and various things weighing on him, making him breathless. In the days of 3 o'clock and 1 line every day, he becomes more and more oppressive, his personality becomes more and more solitary, and his heart is sealed and closed, seemingly completely out of place with this world. Yaoxing can feel that life is turning black and white. Not long ago, he learned about his parents' divorce again, and it was his mother who took over the custody. However, he was only provided with a small monthly living allowance and could only barely make ends meet. By chance, he came into contact with the animated film Pony. As he understood the story, he became more and more fond of the world, and every character could bring him warmth and healing to his heart. Although it may seem childish to others, Yaoxing still proudly describes himself as a heavy horse enthusiast in front of him. Yaoxing fantasizes every day that he can live with the protagonist, live with the ponies there, learn magic, defeat the villains, and protect the world. He is increasingly yearning for this world, and if given a chance, he can use his own life to protect this world. I don't know if God heard what he was thinking or if he felt sorry for him. Next second. Buzz. A pickup truck suddenly drove over on the road, with white headlights shining on Yaoxing and unable to open his eyes. The pickup truck crashed straight into him, embedded in the wall together. When Yaoxing opened his eyes again, he found himself sleeping in a dim cave. The cave is spacious, but not very deep. It is about 10 meters wide, 5 meters high, and continues to extend for about 15 meters. The walls around it are carved with various difficult-to-understand rune arrays. Oh my goodness, where am I? It's so dark here. Why are all the rocks around Yaoxing's heart is now extremely anxious. He intended to wipe his eyes with his hand, but when he lifted it up, he found that his hand had turned into hooves. Ah! How did my hand turn into a cylinder? Yaoxing slowly stood up, but his movements were extremely uncoordinated. After stumbling for a few steps, he fell to the ground again. At this moment, a cluster of light suddenly appeared in front of Yaoxing. The cluster was light purple in color, with a diameter of about half a meter. The emitted light and atmosphere were very soft, and a warm feeling came from approaching it. Hey, what is this light? It feels so warm. When Yaoxing wanted to get closer and observe it carefully, he found himself slowly drifting up. Wait, what are you doing? This light is dragging Yaoxing towards the depths of the cave. Okay, you've been dragging me for about half an hour, so where are you taking me? Also, is this cave so deeply Yaoxing lay in mid-air? Speaking of which, as a human, I am already dead, right? Well, I've had enough of this world full of deception, violence, hypocrisy, filth, and deceit, or rather, I'm not suitable for that world in the first place, right? Then he roughly looked at his own body. Tisk, why is it so similar to the style of pony? At this moment, dragging the light cluster of Li Yaoxing, slowly let it down. Just as he was looking around, he suddenly heard a voice that was incredibly familiar to him. Hello, my friend. Li Yaoxing looked forward and saw a purple figure sitting on the ground, in front of the campfire. This figure is something I have seen countless times before. Wait, you wouldn't be. Yes, I number 39, Twilight Sparkle. Although my English is not very bad, I would prefer to have a translator, which sounds a bit like English speaking practice. Oh, sorry, let me use the translate magic. Okay, now you should be able to hear what I'm saying clearly, right? Shining stars, now it's okay. By the way, are you really shining in the twilight? The figure slowly turned around, wearing a crown on her head, one horn, a pair of purple wings, and a cute female foal with purple stars on her buttocks, but her expression was extremely haggard. Yes, I am indeed shining in the twilight. Oh my goodness, I really traveled to Pony and saw the familiar face. Li Yaoxing was particularly excited, but more of a doubt. It's a great honor to meet you, little Mary Friendship Princess. Although I'm very excited to meet you, I still have many questions to ask. Li Yaoxing, who suddenly realized that he seemed to have said something wrong, quickly lifted his hoof and covered his mouth, saying that there was still time to make amends for a slip of the tongue. The twilight was shining, and I barely managed to hold up a smile. I know, shining, in your world, we are known as animation. I also know that you know everything about this world. By the way, I'm sorry. I called you from the human world with the essence of harmonic law. Upon hearing this, Li Yaoxing's brain seemed to have crashed. Why did she call me Shining Starlight and why did she choose me? I am just an ordinary person, or rather an ordinary pony. Is it natural that she is so friendly to me because she is the Friendship Princess? Since I can come to this world, it is obvious that it has changed from animation to reality, and Princess Friendship can no longer view it with normal eyes. Does she have any purpose? Why does she live in this cave? What exactly happened to make her so haggard? The twilight was shining, as if it could tell what Li Yaoxing was thinking in his heart, and he said. Don't worry, I will answer all your doubts one by one. First of all, let me give you a brief summary of the current situation. Underneath our feet is the underground cave of Canterbury Castle, and our country, Little Mary, is now destroyed. Upon hearing this, Li Yaoxing was shocked and Little Maria was destroyed. WTF? Is this part of the original plot? Wait, you and your friends are so powerful, and how can the essence of harmonic law be destroyed? The fact is indeed so, shining, all stories must start from a yellow pony. She tells us that she was born for revenge and called herself a dark fire. Darkness. Fire. It was not mentioned in the original plot. What is it? It has been chaotic since the 9th season. Okay, even if you can't defeat her, there should still be disorder. He is a creature that masters chaos magic. Yes, there is no doubt about the power of disorder, but unfortunately, the ability of disorder is like a facade in front of her, and it has not had any effect. This. How could it be possible? So during our fight against her, I have been studying her abilities, which are very eerie. Even if she is killed, she can be resurrected in the next second. Then she turned disorder into a stone statue and destroyed Little Maria, but what puzzled me was that she only turned the ponies into stone statues. Nevertheless, I still resented her because she turned Daisy, Little Butterfly, and my friends, my teacher Saracia, Princess Luna, all into stone statues, devoid of any vitality, that bastard. Surprisingly, these are her most magnificent works, Daisy dragged her elderly body and forcefully used rainbow sonic booms and dark flames to entangle herself. Applejack grabbed me and quickly escaped the battlefield, leaving almost all the horses on the battlefield. Applejack, in order to cover me, also turned into a stone statue. I could only lie weakly on the throne of friendship. At that moment, I felt that our friendship had been completely destroyed. At this point in the story, Twilight's shimmering body trembled slightly, revealing her inner anger and sorrow, anger towards the actions of the dark fire, anger towards her own incompetence, sadness towards losing friends and teachers. She killed all these ponies. Li Yaoxing's heart gradually became angry. He loved every character very much, but now you tell me, they were all killed by that little horse who claimed to be the dark fire. No. I have always believed that they can still be resurrected, but they need a chance. After listening to the sparkling storyline of Twilight, Li Yaoxing's heart was also very heavy. He could never have imagined that after the completion of this anime, the changes would be so significant. Is this a real world, or? For this world, the human world, which is the animation created by the world I originally lived in, should not be able to break away from the framework of animation. But why can it affect the world I originally lived in? Besides, there should be a dimensional wall separating them, right? Alas, my head hurts so much. I am weak and in an extremely dangerous situation, so confused. I am just an ordinary human, no, I should be an ordinary pony now. But how did you survive? I don't think that powerful dark fire will let you go. Applejack covered for me and escaped to the magic space he had prepared for me, which is the cave we are currently in. Twilight flickered as it heard Li Yaoxing's question. Unconsciously, it remembered the gray, tall figure, with a gentle expression on its eyebrows. You will know, Shine, all the truth will be revealed, you are the person selected by the essence of harmonic law. No, it is more appropriate to say that you are the person destined to be selected. Believe in yourself, shine stars, you can save little Mary in the world. By the way, from the moment I saw you, I heard you call me Shining Starlight, but I don't hate that name. As a human, I have already died. Coming to this world is like welcoming a new life. Shining Starlight, my name is called Starlight. Alright, now we. Sparkling Starlight stood up. Just as he was about to ask about his next steps, he suddenly felt a huge shake coming from inside the cave. Then from a certain direction came a voice with an extremely arrogant or somewhat pathological tone. Hee, I found you, dear little princess. I didn't expect you to hide in such a hidden place, which made it so difficult for me to find. Wait, see what I found. Shining stars, ha, it's been a long time since I last saw you. You're just a hindrance to my progress. Let's continue the unfinished battle we fought last time. Oh, I remember. You must have crossed over from another world, right? The shining stars of this world have been killed by me, ha, do you know? He was still foolishly searching for something to defeat my destined person until his death. It's ridiculous, I am invincible. Sorry, seeing the familiar face again, I may be a bit talkative. Are you a dark flame? Sparkling Starlight nervously asked in the direction of the sound coming from. Oh, it seems you have already heard of me. Not bad, it's my dark fire. Not good. Shine, let's go quickly. We can't stay here anymore. I never expected her to come over so quickly. Twilight flickered anxiously with its wings, carrying the sparkling starlight on its back and rushing towards a wall engraved with a magic formation. Chapter 2. Starting Point. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Starting Point. Twilight shone brightly, carrying sparkling starlight and rushing towards a magic formation. The formation suddenly lit up, and then the white light on the two horses flashed and disappeared into the cave. The figures of two horses appeared on the land, shining with starlight as they looked at the surrounding scenery, and couldn't help but take a cold breath. The visible areas are all barren, the land has turned yellow-brown, with no grass growing, and there are potholes everywhere, full of traces of fighting. Dark clouds cover the sky, and the yellow sun and dark red moon appear in the sky at the same time. It is hard to imagine that this place was once Canterbury. Oh my goodness, this place is really miserable. The twinkling stars gave rise to a sense of timidity in my heart. Twilight was just about to say something when it heard a roar coming from not far away. My dear little princess, don't run away, there are still shining stars. Just seeing such a terrifying environment makes you scared. This doesn't look like you in the sky not far away. A black dot grew bigger and bigger, until it turned into a yellow foal, flying at an extremely fast speed towards the shining stars on their side. Not good, she's chasing after me, Shining, I must send you out now. Twilight Shining also spread its wings, pulling Shine onto its back and flying in one direction, as if trying to distance itself from the dark fire. Wait, where will you send me? What should I do? A question of twinkling stars and confusion. I will use time. Empty magic to send you back to the past. You need to stay there and continue to grow until you have the ability to defeat the dark fire. Don't worry, you have plenty of time. Twilight shimmered, hiding from the magical laser, orange, shot by the dark fire while explaining to the sparkling starlight. What about you? What should you do? Sparkling Starlight asked anxiously. My remaining magic is only enough to send you alone. Let me drag the dark fire. Don't worry, I won't have anything to do. If you want to go back in time, there's no way. You must become my great artwork today. The dark fire roared, then condensed a magical light ball with a single horn, and the morning and evening light shone as they hit. Bang! After the twilight flashed and dodged, the light ball bombarded the ground, creating a huge crater of 100 meters. The powerful energy aftershocks formed a hurricane blowing towards her. Her wings were greatly reduced in flight speed due to strong resistance. The flickering wings of the dark fire accelerated towards them, and her distance from them grew closer and closer. What you can do, you will definitely succeed. Shine, you will definitely save us, save this world. Twilight Sparkling used magic to create a scroll, and then used magic to activate the time and space magic contained in the scroll, condensing a door of time and space in front of it, pushing the radiance past. In the next moment, the sparkling starlight came from outside the still partially closed door of time and space, and saw the dark fire suddenly teleporting to the back of the shimmering twilight. It used a laser to shoot at her, slowly transforming into a stone statue. Her eyes became dimmer and her vitality weakened. At the last moment, Twilight called out to the sparkling starlight again. Don't be afraid. Shine, you must believe that you are the bond that connects all the bonds together. By the way, remember. The moon water orchid blooms in mid-October every year. Growing on cliffs above an altitude of over 600 meters. After shouting, the twilight shimmered and turned completely into a stone statue. The crown on his head lost its luster and fell down in unison. Dark Fire turned around and saw the sparkling starlight inside the closing door of time and space, with a look of extreme unwillingness and anger on his face. No way to run. The Dark Fire used its angle to create an arc, instantly forming an orange light blade that slashed towards the gate of time and space. However, it was still one step too late. The gate of time and space closed, and the light blade swept across the sky, exploding with a bang. With the explosion as the center, it formed a powerful energy aftershock that pushed towards all sides. Dark Fire, you bastard, I will definitely become strong enough to defeat you. Even killing Sparkling Starlight angrily shouted. Seeing that the Sparkling Starlight could no longer stop it from leaving, the Dark Fire stopped chasing and glanced at the shimmering stone statue that had fallen to the ground. Humph, no matter what you shout, it's useless. Strength determines everything. Going back to the past. Okay, I look forward to the day when we face each other again when our strength is equal. Don't let me down, I will sit on the throne at the peak of my strength waiting for you. Dark Fire said with a deep gaze. Long, long ago, the beautiful little Mary had a pair of sisters princesses who kept a harmonious life. During the day, her sister held the sun with magic, at night, the sister rises the moon, and the sisters keep the balance of the kingdom and protect their people. Day after day passed, and my younger sister was unhappy. During the day when my sister was in charge, the ponies were playing, while at night when she was in charge, the ponies were all asleep. One day, my younger sister didn't give way to the sun or let the moon set. My sister told her not to do this, but the hatred in her heart turned her into a night demon. The nightmare moon. She swore to forever envelop the kingdom in darkness. Sister has no other way but to use the most powerful magic in the magic world. Harmonic essence. She defeated her sister and banished her to the moon forever by virtue of the power of harmonic essence. Since then, my sister has been in charge of both the sun and the moon. The little horses of little Mary have been living in peace ever since. My head hurts so much. It seems like there was a time and space storm during my journey. The sparkling starlight woke up and found himself in the forest. Under the pitch-black night, the forest covered this place very dark, with some large and small water beaches everywhere. He stood up and surrounded himself, realizing that he was surrounded by trees and couldn't figure out his position. The shining starlight walked aimlessly forward, but as he walked, he found that his heart was becoming more and more hairy, and the surrounding environment was becoming increasingly gloomy. He suddenly thought of something. Wait. This seems to be the free eternal forest. I'm really unlucky. I just escaped from the dark fire and encountered a new crisis. What should we do? I have not found the main cast yet, so I have to explain it here. I heard it's extremely dangerous here, and the weather is unpredictable. Where am I heading myself? Should I dig a grave for myself and then die in place? Sha sha sha. Suddenly, a pair of dark green eyes flashed from the nearby bushes. This is. Then the figure slowly walked out of the bushes, staring fiercely at the shining stars. It was a wooden wolf. Timber wolves are one of the extremely dangerous creatures in the free eternal forest, and their ferocity cannot be described in just one word. Their green eyes are ominous like ghostly fire, and their claws can easily take the life of ponies. They also love group hunting, have strong survival abilities, and can freely split into groups. It's over, I don't want to die yet. The strong sense of crisis suddenly lit up the shining star's head, then formed several beams of light that shot towards the ground. Hey, I'm actually a unicorn and haven't noticed it yet. But what's the use of this? I don't know any magic at all. The sparkling starlight quickly scanned the surroundings, then looked at his own situation, his brain running wildly, thinking about countermeasures. Fighting is not possible, running away is also not possible. Together, horizontally and vertically, it's just death, right? Shining starlight used some stones or wooden sticks from the ground to throw at the wooden wolves in an attempt to drive them away, but unfortunately it did not work. The wooden wolves dodged and were angered. A wooden wolf pounced towards the sparkling starlight and opened its big mouth, revealing sharp teeth that wanted to bite his neck. Shining starlight quickly reacted and kicked the wooden wolf with its hind hooves, which had a great effect. The wooden wolf was directly kicked apart. Unfortunately, the wooden wolf can recombine, and the fragments of the wooden wolf on the ground slowly form a complete wooden wolf. However, he observed that the wooden wolf also had some fatigue at this time. The sparkling starlight was about to give this wooden wolf another shot, but he forgot that the wooden wolf was a collective creature. The other wooden wolves hidden in the bushes all rushed towards the sparkling starlight, suppressing him from moving. The wooden wolves looked at the shining starlight, their mouths opening and closing, as if mocking his incompetence. Claw marks appeared on the shining starlight, which could crush the teeth of hard objects and bite on it. He buried his head with his front hooves and lay on the ground, his gaze slowly losing its radiance. Am I about to die? No. My story hasn't started yet, how can it end? You bastards, hurry up and get out of here. The shining starlight's strong desire for survival and love for this world slowly awakened him, and a powerful but unstable magic exploded from him, flying all the wooden wolves out, hot march. And not far away, the ancient castle suddenly emitted a prominent white light, which slowly rose to the sky and then flew towards the sparkling starlight, penetrating into his body without any movement. Sparkling starlight slowly stood up. Surprisingly, there is a seventh element, no, this feeling. Is it just a blank space? The dark magic emerged from him, and the wounds on his body quickly healed. He felt a sudden surge of magical knowledge in his brain, hanging up. Thank you for teaching me how to control my magic. Alright, little wolf cubs, your end has come. The sparkling starlight looked towards the wooden wolves not far away, and the magic slowly converged into a black ball of light on the unicorn, then rapidly shot towards the wooden wolf pack. Dong! The wooden wolves were all scattered, and the surrounding trees and grass were crushed into shape. The scattered wooden wolf fragments slowly gathered together, eventually forming a giant wooden wolf. Is it a combination method of wooden wolves? Alright, the second round starts. The giant wooden wolf showed an angry expression on its face and charged towards the sparkling starlight. There was not much panic on the shining starlight's face. He used his magic to lift himself up, and the wooden wolf rushed in front of him. His left paw quickly swung towards him, and the shining starlight flew upwards, avoiding the blow. Then, he used his horn to condense a magical laser and aimed it at the wooden wolf. Roar! After being hit, the giant wooden wolf was obviously even more angry, and his claws on the shining starlight were even more fierce. However, the shining starlight became more proficient in mastering its floating magic and appeared to be adept at evading it. There is still too little knowledge of attack magic stored in my mind, so I can only use floating magic or lasers. Sparkling starlight thought for a moment. Floating magic is the use of magic to wrap oneself up and then detach from the ground, which is relatively simple. Magic laser is slightly more difficult to cast than floating magic, because if the intensity is not well controlled, the laser will explode. Woo! The giant wooden wolf saw that it could not harm the shining star, so it hauled up to the sky in search of companions. In no time, more and more wooden wolves surrounded the shining star. It's a bit difficult now. I want to control the use of magic just right and not waste a bit. The sparkling starlight adjusted the strength of the magic on the corner, then converged into a laser, locking in a wooden wolf to strike. Pop the tower. The wooden wolf was instantly shattered into pieces. The wooden wolves around him no longer wanted to give him a chance and rushed towards the shining stars together, wanting to eat him. What should we do? Do we use lasers? No, the range of the laser is too small. Feeling the magic within my body, the shimmering starlight suddenly reminded me of the chemical knowledge I have learned in the human world. Matter is composed of atoms arranged in different orders, and substances arranged in different orders have different properties, with shapes among them. So, is the laser I use the same kind of three-dimensional geometric magic? Shining starlight tried and found it feasible, so slowly a transparent shield-shaped magic appeared around it. The flying wooden wolves suddenly stopped around the sparkling starlight, suspended in the air, but actually collided with the magic shield. Looking at their funny expressions, the sparkling stars said coldly. Success, alright, wooden wolves, take the call. The shining starlight condensed a magical laser with super strength, hitting the surrounding wooden wolves. After removing the shield-shaped magic shield, the wooden wolves were instantly attacked. However, this attack did not only scatter them, but directly turned them into dust. No. There's not even ash left. Although it has the help of the essence of harmonic law and it was originally the cause of human beings, it has to be said that the shining stars are extremely talented in fighting. In the first battle, I fully utilized my body's flexibility and maneuverability. Without learning magic knowledge, I was able to independently study the principles of using magic barriers and use them. In one word, it is called a born warrior, which may also be the reason why he was chosen as the destined person to save little Mary. Alright, I won this battle. Sparkling with starlight, speaking and moving his hooves, he walked towards the giant wooden wolf. The shattered giant wooden wolf lay on the ground, with the green light in its eyes becoming increasingly dim, as if it was about to go out. The remaining ordinary wooden wolves were also heavily injured and stumbled away towards the distance. Now the twinkling starlight in their eyes and the fierce aura emanating from their bodies make them extremely afraid in their hearts. This is the cruel law of the eternal forest of freedom. Before killing others, one must be prepared to be killed. I can give you a chance to survive, but with conditions. You have to submit to me and help me with things. The giant wooden wolf nodded weakly, indicating his willingness. Alright, you can go back to your own territory. By the way, if ponies appear in the free eternal forest in the future, please don't harm them. The shining star light mobilized the harmonic essence in the body, extended a soft white magic from the corner, and merged into the giant wooden wolf's body. The wound on the huge body slowly healed, and the giant wooden wolf had completely surrendered to the shining star light. Watching the giant wooden wolf's figure disappear, shimmering with starlight lying on the ground, I can finally relax. It's so tiring to travel through this world without stopping for a moment. Chapter 3. After the first battle. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. After the first bottom lying in the forest that has been razed to the ground, the shining star looked at the moon in the sky, and the corner of the eye could not help shedding a few tears. The blue eyes were full of sadness. Recalling the battle just now, if it was not for the help of the essence of the empty space harmonic law, I would really die here. The shining starlight covered his chest with his hooves, tears of fear and joy of victory in battle. A person born in a peaceful era would never have a chance to fight with death. Wiped his tears with his hoof, stood up slowly with the shining star light, walked to the castle where the Princess Universe and Princess Moon used to live, and felt the essence of harmonic law in his heart. Is this the essence of harmonic law? The almost invincible presence in the plot is wonderful, so what will be the element of my awakening when the essence of harmonic law entered the shining star light? It had already told him the correct use method. This is the seventh essence of harmonic law bred by the harmonic law tree. When he was not rendered by the pony, his characteristic was blank. Of course, similar to shining stars, the element of empathy, such as the shimmering afterglow, is also the seventh element in the plot. The 6 elements we are familiar with are magic, kindness, optimism, honesty, generosity, and loyalty, but they are all created by Baihu Zixing Xian, and this blank essence of harmonic law is naturally generated. This means that this blank essence of harmonic law can be rendered into any element. What kind of element will it be? It's really exciting for Ma. Thank you again, little one sparkling stars, said in my heart. However, he was not very clear about the reason why the essence of harmonic law chose him. At that time, he became a real part of himself after integrating into the shining star light, including the powerful magic. Is it true that as the Twilight said, I am destined to be chosen? Fate is really complex. Suddenly, a strong sense of hunger came, indicating that I had to accelerate my pace, otherwise I would starve to death here tonight. Sigh, if I had known earlier, I would have let that wooden wolf carry me. Shining starlight sighed. So he activated his magic, lifted himself up, and quickly flew towards the castle. Although he had just experienced the battle and his magic was greatly depleted, based on the current situation, he didn't care whether he was tired or not. In the darkness, a dilapidated castle stands on the mountaintop, appearing so desolate against the moonlight. Every trace on the wall seems to be telling its history. Now, what appears in front of the sparkling starlight is the entrance hall, which is obscured by time but still reflects the glory of the past. It extends to the left and right of the entrance hall, with an arch every 2 meters, which appears to be made of stone but is already covered with cracks. In front of the entrance hall, there is a comfortable lawn planted for horses. On the main road leading to the hall, there are also statues of small horse soldiers on both sides, but they have been almost destroyed. On the inside of the destroyed soldier statue, there are two flags hanging, one bearing the sun and the other bearing the moon. The flag bearing the sun emits a scorching radiance, while the flag reflecting the moon is surrounded by stars, shining brightly. Under the pure moonlight, it appears so solemn and dignified. Does the moon and sun represent the universe princess and the moon princess? Then this should be the essence of harmonic law. After entering the lobby, there are 6 strange statues carved with the essence of harmonic law in the main hall. So the current timeline should be before M6 defeated the Nightmare Month, right? The shining starlight skips over these harmonic essence and continues to explore the castle. Keep going to the right, there is a wide corridor, and at the end is a black-brown door with the words, Royal Library, printed on it. As soon as I opened the door, I felt a breath of knowledge rushing towards me. There was a large golden chandelier hanging on the roof, but unfortunately it was already covered in dust and couldn't be used anymore. There are a total of 20 rows of bookshelves from left to right, which are about 8 meters long and 6 meters high. 7 rows of bookshelves are placed along the surrounding walls, and almost every bookshelf has its own brand indicating the type of book. There are books about daily life, technology, national defense, as well as magic. It is worth mentioning that most of the books on magic types here are ancient magic. Oh my goodness, there are more books here than I imagined. I can now understand the mood when Twilight first came here. I can now delve deeper into the world of Pony and learn more magic. If I learn all the magic here, wouldn't it be able to explode the dark fire? Moreover, all the books about magic here are about ancient magic knowledge, which really excites me. The sparkling starlight kept jumping and bouncing around the library, with a joyful expression on his face. However, he soon stopped because he knew that without sufficient energy, he could not fully concentrate on learning these spells. So he used his magic to float up a few books he liked, took them away, and then ran towards the corridor on the left side of the hall, because he was really hungry now. Hurry up, where is the restaurant? I need to eat, otherwise I would really starve to death here today. He pushed open the doors one by one, and finally at the end of the left corridor, the second room from left to right was the restaurant. Sparkling stars quickly ran towards the back kitchen, opening cabinets one by one. Inside, he found food, mostly bread, sandwiches, salads, etc. So he sat still, using magic to control the food, stuffing it into his mouth, and began to indulge in it. It's really strange, even though many years have passed, the food inside still hasn't decayed, shining with starlight as he ate and thought. Then he caught a glimpse of some small magical runes on the cabinet. Oh, did he use magic to preserve the food intact? After the meal, the sparkling starlight wiped his mouth with his hooves, then stood up and continued to explore every room here. He also made a magic mark on the restaurant door. Simply put, it is about condensing magic into substance and attaching it to the door, forming a geometric pattern that carries its own magical aura. If you come back to the restaurant later, it is not easy to get lost. From left to right, the third room is the royal bathroom, the fourth room is the royal toilet, and the fifth room is the royal conference room. After swaying for a while, the sparkling starlight said. There are so many rooms, truly belonging to the royal horse, which is different from us common people's horses. It kept swaying until it reached the end of the right corridor, with the words, Throne Hall, marked on the entrance. The gray-red carpet, shattered chandeliers, shattered windows, and walls filled with cracks, along the end of the carpet lies a throne that has lost its radiance. It is not difficult to see that the Cosmic Princess and Nightmare Moon have engaged in a fierce battle. It's really full of sadness. The sparkling starlight frowned. Is it the Nightmare Moon? I don't know if I can use 2 moves against her. Although I don't know magic, there is not much magic stored in my body. I have only fought against the wooden wolf now, and the wooden wolf can only be considered cannon fodder for the Nightmare Moon. If I can't even defeat Nightmare Moon, why bother defeating the dark fire? Twilight and Starlight Shine rarely rely on their own hard power to defeat the boss in the plot. Even Disorder was defeated in front of her. If we cannot defeat her with our own strength, little Maria and this world cannot be saved. By the way, 6 harmonious essence, friendship magic, if you add my 7th element, there must be some opportunities. Alright, I don't want to do so much anymore. Since I have chosen this path, let's just move forward. The main task now is to continuously learn and improve my strength. Later, he left the throne hall and went to find a room. Although it was already very shabby, fortunately the bed was not damaged, and the quilt was only covered in a little dust. Shake it and put it on, you can still sleep. The sparkling starlight roughly cleaned the room, and after removing some dust and broken stones, it was ready to live. He lay in bed, placing several books suspended beside him behind the bedside. A strong drowsiness swept over him, his eyelids heavy and closed, and he fell asleep. He has gone through too much in the past 2 days. Yesterday he was still a human, but today he was summoned to this world and told himself that he bears the mission of saving the world. He witnessed the disappearance of his beloved character's life and almost was killed by a wooden wolf. He is just an 18-year-old young man who came to a different world alone. He may not even have realized it, and his heart is gradually closing, but this may also be a farewell to his past. At this moment, the world where the dark fire is located. A scene of desert, yellow sand whistling, scorching sun and dark red moon hanging high in the sky, thousands of miles of wilderness, with no grass growing. The visual angle goes straight ahead and comes to a large area of ruins. There are stone statues of the royal guards everywhere. A broken one can be vaguely identified on the ruins of the royal sisters' castle. The stone statues of the cosmic princess, the moon princess, and the silver armor shining all fall on the ground. Their faces are angry and unwilling. It can also be seen from the stone statues of the 2 sisters that they are using their own signature magic before turning into stone statues. And on a throne made of crushed stones, the dark fire lay on it, her eyes filled with indifference to life. She looked around the scenery, suddenly burst into laughter, revealing a pair of sharp teeth. Ha ha ha, this world is invincible to me. Since I don't deserve to enjoy the beauty of this world, I will destroy it all. Those who dare to stop me from seeking revenge will all die, especially you. Sparkling stars await me, and we will soon meet again. However, it's a pity that such a beautiful scenery is gone. It would be great if their time could be permanently stuck in this moment and turned into my artwork. Suddenly, she shifted her body and looked towards a place, propping her chin up with her hooves. After thinking for a while, she returned to her original state. I remember, it's that old guy named Xing Xian. Forget it, I've already found the coordinates for the next timeline. As for him, it's okay to live and die here. Suddenly, her body left the throne and slowly floated up. Her yellow wings flickered, fanning huge hurricanes. A golden magic slowly shone on the corners, slowly condensing. Time magic. Time stagnation. The magic with a temporal aura spreads around the dark fire and spreads throughout the world. Everything affected by the magic is brought to a standstill in biological time. Starry Xian, who was hiding in a ruins with broken fragments, was greatly surprised at the sight. She wanted to use magic to prevent the magic from spreading to him, but before she could use it, she was frozen in place by the magic. The magic on the corner quickly dissipated into the air. The silence of the whole world is terrifying. The dark fire above the sky glanced casually and muttered a few spells. Suddenly, a dark red door of time and space appeared above her, and the dark fire was quickly sucked in. Next world, prepare well, your end has come. Chapter 4. Practice Martial Arts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Practice Marital Arts. In the morning, the sun slowly rises. The first ray of sunlight crossed the high mountains and shone directly onto the castle. Then, it passed through the windows on the walls and shone through the patterns on the starry face. The handsome face appeared even more delicate under the light, and the darkness in the room gradually dissipated. Wahaha. Under the urging of the original biological clock, the sparkling starlight felt the light from the eyes, and the drowsiness was immediately dispelled, restoring normal brain function. He snorted twice, lifted the blanket, opened his sleepy eyes, and sat on the bed with his 2 hooves, staring blankly for a while. He just remembered what he was going to do today, studying magic knowledge. By the way, I need to study magic knowledge, no way. Time is life, I need to get up quickly. Thinking of today's schedule, the sparkling stars suddenly felt a rush. He rubbed his eyes with his hooves, quickly used magic to tidy up the quilt, and then 4 hooves quickly ran on the ground towards the location of the royal restaurant. After arriving at the royal restaurant, he used magic to open the freezer door, found a few bottles of water, opened them, and made do with washing his face, rinsing his mouth, and then rushed to the bedroom. Using magic, he picked up a grey book and it floated in front of him. This magic book was slightly wider than the common dictionaries in our daily lives, with a thickness of about the same. The name, Black Magic, was written on it in circular English. In fact, this book was specially selected by shining stars in the royal library. In his view, black magic is easier to learn than regular magic, and the difficulty lies only in having a very good mindset, otherwise it is easy to be dominated by one's own negative emotions. Sparkling starlight lay on the bed, with the first 2 hooves holding books. He used his magic to flip pages by pages, his gaze constantly scanning the text on it, pausing for a moment, and a look of contemplation. He continued to absorb the knowledge from the book, and thus passed a short time. I see, black magic is similar to regular magic, but it carries different emotions and unleashes greater power than regular magic. Magic, like the energy contained in one's own cells, is a physiological activity carried out by converting the energy in food into one's own heat through mitochondria. Some of the energy is converted into magic and stored in cells. The difference between self-heat and magic is that magic can be taken away, and it is related to one's own physical condition, mental state, and emotions. Normally, it tends to a stable amount, while self-heat needs to be replenished regularly and continuously consumed with physiological activities. When using black magic on vulnerable unicorns, it can lead to emotional instability and frequent outbursts. No wonder the table of contents states, "Unicorn, please study carefully because the book Black Magic is very thick." Just reading the annotated table of contents took a long time to shine with starlight. Suddenly, his brain lit up, and based on a magical principle of black magic, he came up with an attack magic. He was eager to try, shimmering with starlight, and stretched out a big lazy waist, then walked out of bed and ran towards the spacious hall of the castle. Mainly because he couldn't wait to realize his idea of starlight, but was afraid that his mastery of magic might not be detailed enough, which would blow up his bedroom, which did happen. He wanted to choose a spacious place to conduct the experiment. Within the throne hall. Standing in the center of the hall, shining with starlight, his eyes closed and his head slightly raised, he tried his best to regulate his emotions, putting himself in a semi-negative state. The so-called semi-negative state is to let negative emotions exist in his heart, but not to affect himself. Then he frowned slightly, as if he had found a balance point. The corner on his head slowly lit up, and the gray magic slowly condensed on the corner. His shining starlight expression was extremely serious, because he knew that if black magic was used incorrectly, it would also cause great damage to himself. Then the magic slowly condensed into a gray light ball. If there were other ponies standing here, they would definitely exclaim. This light ball emitted obvious negative emotions. Yes, even those who didn't know magic could feel a sense of discomfort from this light ball. Then the sparkling starlight suddenly opened his eyes, his blue pupils sparkling with divine colors, his expression joyful and his mouth wide open, laughing at the ceiling. "Ha ha ha, I succeeded and successfully used the magic compression ball on the first attempt." The four hooves of the shimmering star kept flapping and bouncing back and forth in the hall, indicating how excited his mood was. But he seemed to have forgotten one thing: if the magic compression ball didn't use magic to maintain it, it would automatically explode. So, in the next moment, the gray light of the magic compression group flickered a few times. Bang! Burst open in one go. The manic magic swept away in all directions, with immense power. Cracks spread on the walls around it, shattered the windows above, and the chandeliers shattered along with the lines connecting the ceiling. The red blanket tore open, and the throne was filled with cracks. The sparkling starlight suddenly reacted and looked towards the center of the explosion, with a look of panic in its eyes. It was about to use a magic shield for itself, but before it could be used, it was knocked out by its own magic. Dong! The shining starlight fiercely smashed against the wall, causing it to collapse and turn into rubble. He grinned in pain and moaned incessantly. After a while, the sparkling starlight finally woke up in a daze. Good guy, it really taught me a painful lesson. Next time I practice magic, I can't be so careless. Maybe it will lead to my own death. He stood up unsteadily, just as he was about to figure out the situation. Looking around, I found a secret passage behind the broken wall. The entrance of the passage is a semi-arch with a diameter of about 1 meter and a height of 1.5 meters. Steps made of stone bricks lead deep underground. The passage was pitch black, making the horse afraid. Shining stars, I'm confused. How come I don't know there's another secret passage here? Is it written in the original play? Or did I forget this segment after not watching it for too long? He lightly stroked his chin with his hooves. Should he go in or not? In fact, the shining starlight that was just hit by magic did not suffer much damage, it just made him feel a bit dazed. Now he has two thoughts in his mind. One is because he is very curious and wants to go in, and the other is because he is afraid of darkness and the unknown and doesn't want to go in. In fact, shining stars is not something I really want to do beyond my knowledge. After a while, the flickering starlight pondered and stomped the floor with its hoof. Humph. I went in today. This castle is ancient, what creatures can survive to this day? Dish hashtag, step by step, the sparkling starlight took a deep breath, and from his eyes, it could be seen that he had solidified his thoughts and entered the secret passage, slowly walking towards the depths of the passage. In the darkness, he frowned and complained, "It's so dark, I can't see anything." Suddenly, the sparkling starlight had a sudden inspiration, and the magic on the corner was fully revealed. Light lit up, and the pitch-black passage was instantly illuminated. I don't know how long I've been walking, but at the end, there's no door, directly connecting to a spacious room. Shining starlight stepped inside, and as soon as he entered, he exclaimed in surprise. "Oh my goodness, is this an arsenal?" A room measuring 20 meters by 20 meters, surrounded by walls made of hard rocks, with various weapons hanging on the left and right walls, including western swords, ordinary iron swords, guns, cold weapons, round shields, square shields. There are still more than 10 sets of armor, but most of them are gray, with the royal emblem printed on the back of the helmet, which should be the armor used by pony soldiers a long time ago. One of the armor pieces is larger than normal armor, consisting of a helmet, neck guard, hooves, and wings. Wing protection refers to the connection between the wings of a unicorn or Pegasus and its body, and its function is to protect this joint. This set of armor is very gorgeous, golden in color, with patterns printed on it. Due to its uniqueness, the sparkling starlight spotted it at a glance and was attracted to it. This seems to be the armor used by Princess Sorasha, worn during the battle against King Sembula 1,000 years ago. He showed a hint of regret, "It's too big. I can't wear it." The shining starlight's current body size is just a bit larger than a normal pony. In the middle, there is a spacious area. Clam. Is the training ground underground? It's really unique. He noticed that next to the weapon rack, there was a relatively small bookshelf with several rows of books neatly arranged on it. Shining stars, he walked over and used magic to pull out one of them to read. Royal Art of War. Yoshi. The art of war is just about the art of war, and it's exclusive to the royal family. However, he just joked in his heart that Shining Starlight was actually very excited, secretly telling you that Shining Starlight actually comes with the attribute of martial idiot. There is a large amount of weapons and equipment here, as well as knowledge of military law. This means that as long as you can settle down, your melee ability will be greatly improved. I just learned black magic. Oh, I'm laughing to death. When my magic reaches its peak, I'll go out and have a direct chat about, I'm invincible to little Maria once I leave the novice village. In his sparkling pupils, there seemed to be golden stars shining, and he had already begun to imagine his future. He had to go to Canterbury first, and then enter the royal army to demonstrate his abilities, gain the recognition of Princess Soraya, and promote him to be the captain of the army. In this way, he would have control over the majority of the army's military power. I don't know if Silver Armor Shanshan is in the guard team at this time. If he is, I will establish a good relationship with him and then apply to Princess Soraya to be the personal guard of the Twilight. Then I can naturally stay with her. Do whatever you say. Now with the shining stars and his blood boiling, he has rearranged his schedule and arranged it to study black magic in the morning, military tactics, and melee in the afternoon. Oh, by the way, it's still morning and I have to continue studying black magic. The Shining Starlight sat down in place, studying hard. Chapter 5. Recruitment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Description Aha. Accelerated Growth Magic, an ancient rune composed of magic. Rune. If I have time, I need to study hard. After combining one's magic into an ancient rune, if integrated into a certain creature, it can heal wounds and accelerate growth. However, accelerated growth magic has a drawback: it can only be used to recover injuries and cannot be used to accelerate growth, because during the process of accelerating growth, the body's energy will be greatly consumed to supply the energy needed for growth, which will cause the creature to be squeezed dry. Sparkling with starlight, eyes closed and suddenly exclaimed in surprise. I see, I understand now. For example, if this magic is cast on a flower, if the flower has a wound, the wound will heal quickly, but it will consume its corresponding nutrients. If the flower wants to grow quickly, then it is highly likely to wither because during the process of being cast with the magic, the nutrients it contains are not enough to support its growth. A bright light bulb suddenly appeared on his sparkling head, and he quickly said. So, I can learn other magic that can provide a lot of energy to organisms. Combining this accelerated growth magic can make up for his shortcomings, right? Huh, I'm really a genius. Shining Starlight, he tilted his head and smiled foolishly. All morning, the shining stars were studying magic so meticulously. At noon, he went to the royal kitchen to get some water and food, solved his lunch, got a notebook from somewhere, and took out a feather pen and a bottle of ink. Every time he learned magic, he had his own unique insights and ideas, which he recorded in the notebook. In the afternoon, he went to the royal library to find a book about close combat exercises, and based on the content of the book, he continued to practice in a wide training field. As it is an underground training ground, the concept of time by the shining stars has become blurred. In order to distinguish the specific time, the shining stars take out an hourglass. The sand on the upper end indicates that the morning time has passed. Turning it over, if the sand leaks out again, it means that noon is over. At this time, the shining stars can have dinner, wash up, leave the underground training ground, and go to the bedroom to prepare for sleep. In fact, the sparkling starlight is very similar to the sparkling twilight, with very specific and meticulous schedules, and both are bookworms lying in bed, shimmering with starlight and thinking about his own strength, defeating the dark fire, saving little Maria, and holding her beautiful horse back. Unconsciously feeling drowsy, he closed his eyes and fell into a deep sleep. The next morning, he woke up with sparkling stars and a faint smile on his face, indicating that he had a beautiful dream last night. After daily toiletries, shining stars, I opened the bedroom door and slowly walked along the red carpet towards the secret passage. As he passed through the main hall, he noticed various dazzling gemstones on the walls and the statue of the little horse. Then, he had a sudden idea and a bright light bulb popped out of his head. He walked up to the wall, and the magic on the corner slowly condensed. He used his magic to snap off the gemstones embedded in it. He took out the largest purple gemstone and used magic to float it in front of him, playing with it. The thing is quite compact. Shining stars with a smile on his face, he pondered in his mind that when he was still a human, his manual dexterity was already very strong. I wonder what would happen after becoming a pony. I should consider making a talisman myself. Well, yes, that's settled. Shining Starlight placed the smaller gemstone in the bedroom and walked towards the underground training ground with the largest purple gemstone. During yesterday's experiment, the throne hall was bombed out due to the carelessness of the sparkling stars, but he was too lazy to repair it. Anyway, it was an abandoned castle, so this throne hall just made do with it. Passing through the familiar dark passage, Shimmering Starlight arrived at the underground training ground and walked slowly to a table. He used his magic to take out an iron dagger, pondered for a while, and carefully carved it on the purple gemstone after figuring out its shape. He was based on a rune from a defensive formation and carved it on a gemstone. The dagger was precisely controlled by the Shimmering Starlight, with more and more patterns on the purple gemstone without any cracks. At this moment, the Shimmering Starlight seemed to have transformed into a professional sculptor. The usage of this rune is worn on a pony. If it is damaged, the rune will be activated, automatically guiding the magic inside the pony to quickly condense into a 5-meter diameter shield-shaped magic barrier, with good defense. In order to make the purple gemstone look more beautiful, it has carved the gemstone into the shape of a 6-pointed star, and the rune happens to be in the center of the 6-pointed star. Then he pulled out an extremely resilient white thread from somewhere, punched a hole in one corner of the hexagram, used magic to guide the white thread through the middle of the hole, and connected the two ends of the white thread to wear around his neck. Then he lowered his head to look at the amulet hanging on his chest, flicked his head, and his flowing hair swayed with the swaying of his head. He smiled proudly. Sure enough, my ability to move my hooves has not weakened, and even in this magical world, my control over magic is superb. After completing the production of the talisman, the sparkling starlight began to devote itself to a day of training. Little Mary, Canterbury, Royal Sisters Castle. In the vast, pure white castle, the spacious throne hall is surrounded by colorful windows, golden chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, and deep red carpets embroidered with golden borders, extending all the way to the edge of the throne. Stepping up the stairs, there sat an immensely esteemed celestial horned beast. She had a pure white body, a tall figure, and colorful hair that flowed freely without wind. Her face, the expression between her eyebrows, was both majestic and gentle. She is Princess Saracia, the supreme ruler of Little Mary, who also oversees the rise of the sun and moon, maintaining the peace of this country in maintaining social order. Recently, she encountered a problem, which is that the current royal army, abbreviated as the Imperial Army, to be joking, don't take it seriously, is very weak. Most ponies come to recruit for horseshoe coins, and their own strength is not strong. They don't have smart minds, don't know how to arrange troops, and some unicorns don't even know how to use magic. This is an extremely serious problem in military affairs. Upon hearing the news reported by General Edison Thomas in the Royal Army, Princess Saracia felt a headache. Only 1/3 of the Royal Army's horses were capable of conducting military activities such as combat. Fortunately, most generals in the army are capable. For example, General Edson Thomas appears extremely majestic on the outside, but in fact, his heart is very delicate and gentle. His father, grandfather, and great-grandfather are all military horses. That's right, he was born into a military and horse family and has been influenced by his elders since childhood, so he has an immense love for Canterbury and the entire country. His own strength is also very outstanding. He is a unicorn, and he is skilled in using magic, arranging troops, and using weapons in close combat. And he provided tremendous assistance when he came to Canterbury to recruit under the shining stars. It seems it's time for a major reshuffle of the Royal Army, General Edson. I'm here, Royal Highness Princess, please tell me. In order to improve the overall strength of the military, we hope you will spare no effort to lead some troops to release conscription news. The time will start in 2 months, covering Canterbury and a large area of surrounding cities. By the way, this conscription must have strict restrictions, and some truly capable elite soldiers must be selected for the future. Yes. My subordinate is in charge. General Edson's eyes showed a determined look, and his expression became resolute. He turned around, opened the door of the throne hall, and completed his mission. Princess Seracia looked at the entire hall without any horses, and her face suddenly showed a tired expression as she spoke weakly. Recently, I have been busy with government affairs, and I seem to have neglected my evening courses. Please take care of me more these days. I'm really tired. Nearly 2 months have passed, and Canterbury is ready to start conscription. The shining stars who stay in the castle every day are living a very fulfilling life, using magic and greatly improving their melee abilities, but lacking practical combat skills. If we insist on a strength assessment, his strength is slightly higher than that of Princess Seracia's personal guards. After such a long period of exercise, the sparkling star decided to step out of the free eternal forest. He returned to his room, and at this moment, it was the afternoon. The golden sun was slowly setting in the west, and the afterglow shone on the mountain. The light rendered the clouds into a reddish gold color, then passed through the window and scattered in the sparkling starry bedroom. Everything appeared to be healing and peaceful. Shining Starlight prepared a small brown bag containing some food and water, as well as several magic knowledge books he would be learning. On the other side, he hung a delicate gun, cold weapon, and a regular iron shield. He stayed in the free eternal forest for about 2 months, but he didn't know the exact timeline. The nightmare month may return tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, next week, next month, or a few years later. He couldn't make up his mind, and no one could say for sure, so he had to set off. Sigua everything is ready, now step out of the eternal forest of freedom. Shining Starlight, one hoof lifted towards the ceiling and shouted loudly. It's a bit cold, why can't I leave? It's already late at night. The shining starlight has been walking in the forest of freedom and eternity for a whole day, but it has not yet left. Occasionally, a cold wind blows towards the sparkling stars in the forest, and the bright moonlight shines into the forest, bringing a glimmer of light to the darkness. But the oppressive atmosphere still made the sparkling star feel scared in his heart, so his pace quickened. But because Shining Starlight is a road enthusiast, he doesn't know where he is and can't find his way back to the castle, so he gets lost in this forest where he doesn't know where the end is. Step by step, in the quiet forest, apart from the occasional chirping of owls, all that remained was the shimmering footsteps of stars. He looked around from time to time, afraid that something might come out. Although he was now very strong, he could not change his fear of darkness. Sob any phony here. What's there? The shining starlight suddenly shook his body, his gaze narrowed, and he looked towards the sound source. He immediately took up his defensive position and used magic to pick up his gun and shield, standing in front of him, constantly retreating backwards. I saw a green eye shining from the deep green bushes, and then my figure slowly walked out of it. It was clear that it was a wooden wolf. After seeing it, the sparkling starlight breathed a sigh of relief and his face relaxed. It turned out to be a wooden wolf. He lowered his guard and put away his shield and gun. Long time no see, buddy. Sigh. Sigh, the wooden wolf slowly walked up to him and barked at him twice. Are you trying to show me the way when I'm in trouble? The wooden wolf nodded slightly. "Thank you, buddy." So he shimmered with starlight and sat on the back of the wooden wolf, letting it carry him in a certain direction. The shining starlight sitting on the back of the wooden wolf after running around all day, was very tired, so he lay on the back of the wooden wolf and fell asleep in a shaky state. I don't know how long it took, but the bumpy feeling stopped, and the sparkling starlight felt something unusual, waking up. Has it arrived yet? Buddy Shining Starlight rubbed his eyes with his hooves and quickly got off the back of the wooden wolf, landing on the ground. The current Shining Starlight is located on the northern edge of the free eternal forest, where you can see a distant group of high mountains. One of the high mountains stands a tall castle, and there is a small path leading to it in front of it. Thank you, buddy. To thank the wooden wolf for giving it to him, Shining Starlight used magic to take out a talisman that he had taken the time to make over the past few days. It was a light green triangular shape and had functions similar to his six-pointed star talisman. Upon seeing this, the wooden wolf showed a hint of surprise on his face, but soon calmed down. He picked up the light green talisman in his mouth and rubbed his head against the sparkling starlight's body. At this moment, the sparkling starlight and the wooden wolf have officially formed a bond. "Ha ha ha, good buddy, I have to go now." "You can go back now." Shining Starlight touched the head of the wooden wolf with its own hooves. It felt pretty good, not rough or very hard, and there was no discomfort when touched. At this moment, there was a wolf and a horse, and no one noticed them. A figure hiding behind a nearby tree glanced sideways at the Shining Starlight as she continued to move forward, and sighed helplessly. Damn it, he still couldn't stop him from leaving the free eternal forest. For this world, is it a blessing or a curse? From his behavior, his inner self may not be bad, but he is learning black magic, which does not necessarily guarantee absolute kindness in his heart. Forget it, let's take it step by step. So, this figure disappeared behind the tree and disappeared into the forest, as if it had never appeared before. Chapter 6. First Arrival at Canterbury. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Reach Canterlot. First, sparkling with starlight and panting, he walked on the road with 2 black circles under his eyes, his hair and ears drooping. He walked for another 2 days, but he was really amazing, my brother. He walked for 2 days and still hasn't reached Canterbury. In fact, the shining stars walk slowly, and he is often attracted by the scenery on the road, which delays a lot of time. He is also a big foodie, as can be imagined. Damn it. You can never guess how ridiculous the shimmering starlight looks now, like a beggar, with silver white hair messy, like a chicken coop. The untreated gray-brown hair on the body is extremely dry, stained with a lot of yellow sticky resin, and even a little leaves. Now his mood can be said to be extremely irritable. After walking for another period of time, he finally arrived at the edge of this city. When the shining stars saw this city, he could no longer suppress his emotions and laughed heartily. Ha ha ha, I've finally arrived. The political power center of Little Mary. Canterlot. Due to his obsession with cleanliness caused by the sparkling starlight, he went to the nearby river before entering Canterlot, wrapped himself in water with magic, and washed himself clean. Step by step, sparkling starlight carrying a small brown bag. As for shields and guns, jokingly, can they be brought into a city openly? Given that Canterlot was relatively safe and confident in his own abilities, Shining Starlight threw his gun and shield aside into the grass. Sparkling Starlight shook my hair and officially entered the big city of Canterbury. Canterlot is built on the other side of the mountain, and if you stand on it, you can have a panoramic view of the beautiful scenery of Pony Valley. Its long history can be traced back 1,000 years. Canterlot is as prosperous as it wants to be, with beautiful photos of Finisa, the fashion king, and various little horses in it. However, in front of the shining stars that have crossed over from the modern human world, it is still not enough to see. However, Shining Starlight is not particularly interested in Canterlot because it gathers ponies, most of whom are nobles. They claim to be noble and look down on common ponies, constantly scheming and fighting for the benefit of their own family. There is a serious polarization, and due to this, shining starlight is very disliked. In the original drama, you may have noticed that there is no Pegasus flying above the sky in Canterbury, because Canterbury has a written rule that to prevent traffic accidents, Pegasus is not allowed to fly above the city, except for some large scale events. The sparkling starlight walking on the streets of Canterbury, as if it had never seen the world before, looked east and west. My goodness, the magnificent houses are arranged in an orderly manner by the designers. Some houses are simple yet exquisite, so it feels comfortable at first glance. Some houses are built in a grand and spacious manner, completely integrated with them, without any sense of abruptness or discord. The sparkling starlight is very surprising and exciting. His mouth is slightly open, and 2 stars occasionally appear in his eyes. The buildings here are really beautiful. On the street, various small horses of all kinds rushed towards one direction, because in 2 days it was a big day. The royal conscription. Discovering some discrepancies in the situation, the sparkling starlight followed the horse flow, crossed some horse paths, turned a few more corners, and finally arrived at a wall specially posted with posters, where many small horses gathered, most of which had the intention of entering the royal army. Sparkling stars, I looked up slightly, my eyes narrowed slightly, scanning the content on the poster. For a long time, the shining starlight stomped its hooves, and a bright light bulb popped out of its head, Yoshi. Originally, the cosmic princess started conscripting, and I came at the right time. He had a joyful expression on his face, with a slight smile on his lips. Everything goes smoothly according to my ideas, then the next step is to become a military horse, Twilight. Waiting for me, the sparkling starlight exudes a visible confidence in the eyes. But as the shimmering starlight shouted out the last word, the air suddenly froze. With the shimmering starlight at the center, the little horses around who were looking at the poster quickly retreated towards the surroundings, and from their eyes, they could see the same meaning. This little horse, I'm afraid it's not a fool. Feeling the caring gaze from all around, a drop of cold sweat shone from the forehead, then quickly showed an embarrassed smile and reached out his left front hoof to scratch his head. Ah! Huh, the weather is really nice today. Isn't it, everyone? The sparkling starlight quickly darted towards a direction with fewer ponies while the horses around were discussing and distracting their attention, flying out of sight. After the little horses regained their senses and found that the shining starlight had disappeared, they didn't pay much attention. It was just a small episode. Step by step, shining starlight continued to walk on the horse path, listening to the conversations and laughter of the ponies on the street, mixed with various noisy voices. It was only now that he had a sense of authenticity when he came to the world of ponies. Even the noisy sounds sounded pleasant in the shining starlight, and this world always made the horse feel at ease. Every little horse is running around for its own life. Although there are many little horses around, the shining stars still make him feel a bit lonely. This feeling reminds him of his time in the human world. Suddenly, he passed by a library, which was quite large and had the words, New Xiaoma North Street Library, written on its doorstep. With a shining star that had always been interested in books, he stepped inside. Welcome to the New Xiaoma North Street Library. May I ask what you need at the front desk? A pony with dark brown buns and black pupils politely asked a white pony. Hello, Mississippi. I'll come in and take a look. Don't bother you. Sparkling Stars gave a slight smile and responded. Oh, okay, sir, I wish you a pleasant reading. The pony at the front desk waved its hooves. It can only be said that it truly deserves to be the world of ponies, without any false or business promotion, completely devoting oneself to work with sincerity. After the shining stars nodded, they began to browse the books here. This place is very large, but it has not reached the area of the library in the abandoned royal sister's castle. Shining Starlight kept walking forward, and at the end, he found that there was no magic book he was looking for here. He also turned his hooves to the left, looked around, and finally found a book that interested him at the corner. Introduction to Magic. Oh my goodness, there is such a book hidden in the small library, what a great harvest. I am so lucky. Sparkling with starlight, he grinned and then sat down on the spot, putting aside his small brown bag on his back, and began flipping through the book Introduction to Magic. This book is thick, long, and wide. Just flipping through the catalog, I spent a lot of time looking at the sparkling starlight. At the same time, my knowledge of magic definition, and various magic casting principles has made the sparkling starlight increasingly exciting. Sparkling stars gradually immerse themselves in books Introduction to Magic, where did this book go? Do I remember putting it here last time the entrance to the library was opened, and in came a purple little dragon with green mane growing from its spine to its tail. He was holding a red hand-drawn cart, which was piled with books. As he walked, he looked around and scratched his head with his little paws, searching for the books he wanted. Watching the sparkling starlight above being awakened, my eyes caught a glimpse of this love's purple little dragon. So it's a dragon, wait, it's Spike. Chapter 7. Spike. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Spike. Sparkling starlight suddenly caught a glimpse of a purple little dragon. Interestingly, this little dragon walks without looking at the road. So, Sparkling Starlight was curious about what Spike was looking for, so he slowly stood up from the floor and walked up to Spike with his hooves lifted. And Spike didn't notice either. A gray pony stood in front of him, and he continued to walk forward. So, he bumped into the shimmering chest, and Spike was knocked down to the ground due to the interaction force. Oh, who is it? He sat on the ground with his hands covering his head, his face showing a hint of pain, but it quickly eased. When he woke up and looked up again, he found a tall gray unicorn standing in front of him. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Sparkling Starlight, there is only one thought in my heart, and that is, Spike is so cute. So the sparkling starlight shone in both eyes and spoke softly. Oh, it's okay, this cute little dragon baby, how are you? Upon hearing a pony praising him, Spike's face turned slightly red and he shyly scratched his head. Oh, I'm fine too. Thank you for your compliment, sir. So. This cute little dragon baby, I'm curious what you're looking for, can you be so fascinated by walking without looking at the road? Sparkling Stars jokingly asked. Let me start by saying that I am looking for a book, which is very important to me. What kind of book is that? I can help you find it, really. Sir, thank you very much. The title of this book is, Introduction to Magic. The sparkling starlight shocked him, his mouth slightly opened, and his gaze suddenly became straight. What a coincidence. So he slowly lifted the book behind him with magic and suspended it in front of Spike, facing him directly. Spike's mouth was wide open and his gaze was fixed on the book. Obviously, he didn't expect such a coincidence either. Oh, so you've already borrowed it. Spike clearly showed a puzzled expression, and the light gradually dimmed in his pupils. Aha. Regarding the incident where I saw the disappointed little dragon. The sparkling starlight saw him like this and spoke out. I can also borrow it from you, but on one condition. Upon hearing this, Spike immediately lifted his head and showed a happy expression on his face. He patted his chest with his small paw. Sir, please say that as long as I can do it, I will do my best to help you. First of all, Xiaolong, I'm very interested in you. Let's make friends. My name is Shining Starlight. The sparkling starlight revealed a smile, lifted his horse hoof, and extended his left front hoof. Okay, sparkling starlight, my name is Spike, and I'm happy to make friends with you. So Spike extended his left paw and the shining left hoof, clasped them together and shook them up and down twice as a gesture of friendship. Can I call you Shine? Sure. So what else do I need to do? My little horse loves to read books and learn some magic knowledge, so you need to help me find a magic book similar to this one. The sparkling starlight first pointed to itself with its right hoof, then gestured with its own hoof, and smiled as it spoke to Spike. No problem, Shine, let's start taking action now. So, Sparkling Starlight handed the book to Spike first, and Spike grabbed it with both claws and placed it on the cart. One person and one horse began searching for books in this library. Spike flipped through the bottom shelf. I am very good at finding books. This one doesn't match. It doesn't match. This one doesn't match either. This one. This one. None of them work, aha. Here is a book. Spike pulled out a magic book and raised it above his head with his paws, so that the sparkling starlight could see it. After hearing Spark's call, the sparkling starlight turned its head and looked at the book that Spark was holding in his hand. Thank you, Spike, you're welcome, Shining. The shining starlight used magic to lift the book up in front of him, and he lightly stroked his chin with a horse hoof, tilting his head and carefully examining the book. The cover of this book is printed with Explanation of the Nature of Magic, which is overall blue and thick. At the first glance of this book, his sparkling starry eyes lit up. He was very interested in this book. No, it should be said that he was very interested in any book related to magic. Not bad, Shine. I think you're a bit like that bookworm in my house. She likes this type of book, and considering that you might also like this type of book, I guessed it right. Spike held his arm with one paw and pointed a finger at the sky with the other paw. Yes, Spike, I'm very interested in this book, so I'll lend you that book first. Did you just mention that bookworm from your family? How many books are there? If I remember correctly, now Twilight Shining is still full of learning magic. Rather than saying she doesn't understand friendship, it's better to say she doesn't care about anything other than learning magic. She has many friends in school, such as Moon Dance and Lemon Heart. Providing such a friendly atmosphere is great, but unfortunately Twilight Shining doesn't care. My bookworm, her name is Twilight Shining. How about being a student of Royal Highness Princess? Isn't it impressive? But she always knows to read until late, and today I came out to help her borrow books. Unexpectedly, he is a student of Royal Highness Princess. I think she must know a lot about magic. I have always liked this kind of academic powerhouse pony, and I want to discuss some magic knowledge with her. Can you schedule him? Spike the sparkling starlight pretended to show a look of great surprise, then excitedly asked Spike. Is that right? Shining, I can help you ask, what is the time and location? Sparkling with starlight and a hint of contemplation, he slammed his left front hoof on his head. Today, as he passed by Little Ma Nan Street, he saw a donut shop, so how about tomorrow afternoon? Let's go to a donut shop on Xiaoma South Street. Sparkling starlight stretched his neck forward slightly and asked Spike. Oh, I often go to that place. It's a shop run by a little horse named Joe. The donuts there are very delicious, so that's the deal. A dragon and a horse walked out of the library and onto the street, and they were about to part ways. Nice to meet you today, Spike. Glittering with a gentle smile, it was truly my top-level language skills. The first time I saw this little dragon, I established a good relationship. Me too, Shining, looking forward to meeting you again. Goodbye then, Spike. Goodbye, Shine. A dragon and a horse waved their hooves and claws to bid farewell, and then walked in different directions. Shining stars, he walked alone on the horse street, planning everything smoothly. A proud expression appeared on his face, and suddenly, he felt an inexplicable gaze on him. The sparkling starlight quickly looked around, but the little horses on the street were talking and laughing, with nothing suspicious. But he still couldn't let go of his guard in his heart. Although that line of sight was really hidden and almost imperceptible, he knew that he must be monitored by the dark pony. After looking around for a while longer and seeing no abnormalities, he continued to walk forward. Even if you dare not attack me in public, just keep an eye on me as long as it does not interfere with my movements. Behind the corner of a building. A cute emblem is a black shield with a purple star shape, a deep blue mane, a white body, and an unknown unicorn at the back, sweating a drop of cold sweat. He quickly wiped it with his horse's hooves. 3665. After a while, the white pony arrived at the throne hall, and Celestia was sitting on the throne. How have you been monitoring? Injia Shanshan, is there any abnormal movement on the pony you reported this morning? If you look closely, you will find that this white pony is monitoring the shimmering stars. I should have worried too much, Royal Highness Princess. He has no bad intentions, but his anti-reconnaissance ability is very strong, so I guess this pony is not simple. Time has come this morning, when the shining starlight had just entered Canterlot and happened to be seen by Silver Armor Shanshan on patrol. Silver Armor Shanshan was very puzzled, why did this little horse come from such a remote path? Then he saw the sparkling starlight again, and with a look of ecstasy, he couldn't help but suspect that there was something wrong with him. He felt like he had a conspiracy, and he quickly told Princess Seracia about it. Then he was sent to track the sparkling starlight. That's good, thank you for your hard work. Silver armor shines brightly, you can go rest now. Princess Seracia smiled. Yes. Silver armor shimmered and slowly walked out of the throne hall. Sneaky little horse, it's a bit interesting. Sparkling starlight. 6. At this moment, shining stars, I am worried about where to sleep at night. I don't even have a horseshoe coin on me. I'll sleep with a hammer. So at night, shining stars lie in an unknown alley on a trash can. I really take it, sleep in the trash can. I should have come to Canterlot earlier, just like the neighboring pony Dust Star, who lives directly with old Joe and has time to learn magic. Ahem, sorry, the plot has been strung. Sparkling starlight lay on the trash can, with the book Explanation of Magic spread out next to his head. He placed one hoof on his stomach and the other under his head as a pillow. He just watched and fell asleep. Chapter 8. Twilight Sparkling. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Twilight sparkled the next day, the sun slowly rose, and a ray of sunlight shone through the narrow slit in the building room, bringing light to the dark city. The sparkling starlight sleeping on the trash can also slowly opened its eyes. It's around 7 o'clock in the morning now. On the left forehead of the shimmering starlight stands a well, indicating that you can't sleep at all. It's smelly, cold, and hard. Sleep with a hammer. So he woke up early and quickly used magic to put the explanation of magical properties, which was lying next to his head, into a small brown bag. Then the front hooves fell to the ground first, followed closely by the back hooves. Sparkling stars jumped out of the trash can and walked out of the alley. Oh my, what should I do today? Suddenly, the background turned black, and a white lightning bolt pierced through his head. He thought of a question. I don't have horseshoe coins to buy breakfast Omega. The food in the small bag has been eaten up. It's over, what should I do? About the protagonist starving to death after entering Canterbury. Sparkling starlight thought for a moment, but suddenly, an idea came to my mind. I'll go to a donut shop and grab some. So he ran along the horse path and continued south along Little Horse Street, because the sparkling stars started too early and most of the shops had not yet opened. After passing countless streetlights, he finally stopped slowly and turned to look at the donut shop. He stopped in front of the window of this donut shop, his eyes shining with stars, his head tilted up to look at a donut, his mouth slightly open and slowly drooling from one side. The sparkling starlight was completely attracted by this donut. You see, he is so small, presenting a perfect three-dimensional ring, evenly coated with chocolate cream. Chewing it in his mouth, he must be able to taste a delicious biscuit crispy, with a rich and sparkling taste. Imagine the taste of this donut. But the pitiful twinkling starlight could only lie on the shop window and watch the donuts drool, without noticing the strange expression of a little horse inside. So the door to the donut was opened, and a yellow pony in pastry clothes walked out from inside. Sir, may I ask if you have anything to do? The sparkling starlight suddenly tightened his body, then quickly turned his head towards the yellow pony, revealing a royal smile. He realized that he had lost his composure and lightly scratched the back of his head with his front hooves. That. I'm really sorry, it's the first time I've seen a donut that looks so delicious since I just came here from Zayamagu. I can't help but feel a little overwhelmed, you know. Upon hearing this, the yellow pony immediately showed a joyful expression, with the corners of its mouth raised. This is undoubtedly a huge recognition for a pastry chef. You can imagine that you are a pastry chef, and your finished products are displayed in front of the shop window. Then, customers pass by and unconsciously praise the donuts you make. You will undoubtedly feel a great joy in your heart. Since that's the case, would you like to come in and taste it? I'm really sorry. I don't have a horseshoe coin. It's okay, buddy. My name is Joe, and I am currently researching a special heart-shaped donut that requires a little horse to help me taste. For Joe, the original intention of opening this donut shop was to bring joy to the ponies with his own donuts. He once had the ponies try his donuts and rate them. For Joe, making donuts is an art form, like painting, singing, and writing. When the ponies eat his donuts and show a smile on their faces, it is undoubtedly his best moment as a pastry chef. Joe waved his hand and let the sparkling stars enter his shop. The sparkling starlight may seem hesitant on the surface, but inside, it's already ecstatic. Finally, there's something to eat, My top-level language skills. So, the sparkling starlight walked briskly into Joe's donut shop. Joe's donut shop is not very big, about 80.90 square meters. The decoration inside is not particularly gorgeous, but more inclined towards party style. The curtains around are hung with colorful hanging curtains, and the floor is black and white. The hanging chandeliers from the ceiling can emit a soft light at night without irritating the eyes. In addition to a kitchen for making donuts, a cash register, and basic public facilities, other places are used to place tables, and if you sit inside and eat, you will feel a quiet and warm atmosphere. It's truly a Canterbury store, it's just different from a regular store. Joe slowly took out his newly made donuts from the oven, each one pouring a lot of his energy into it. He had to make sure customers enjoyed the most delicious donuts, and each one became incredibly delicious under his care. And Shining Starlight loves to eat this sweet and non-greasy food the most, with the slight bitterness of chocolate, the perfect combination of sugar and bread, and a cup of black tea brought by the bridge. Together, their killing power is simply amazing. 5 ants. The shining stars disregarded their own image, shouting out their feelings loudly, and then using magic to lift donuts one by one, stuffing them into their mouths. I really haven't seen such a good boss before. In the human world, how could I treat you to a donut like this? Although Joe was surprised by the sparkling starlight, he still smiled. He really has a personality, this little horse. This kind of evaluation is more realistic than a cold score, and he is glad to meet such a customer. Eat slowly, there are still many new donuts. I suddenly realized that my behavior seemed a bit crude, shining with stars and feeling a bit embarrassed, so I restrained myself a bit. Joe, are you really not charging for such a delicious donut? It's true, I'm still worried about who will taste my new heart-shaped donut now. If a donut is made, the biggest sorrow is not having a pony to eat. Joe rested a horse hoof on his chest and said with a serious expression. Nice to meet a little horse like you. What's your name? Are you really from Magu since childhood? Joe opened one eye wide and showed a curious expression, staring at the sparkling stars. My name is Shining Starlight, and I was originally a wandering pony. Later, I moved to the Valley of Pony and heard the news of Princess Soratia's conscription. I had this intention myself, so I came. I didn't expect you to become a military horse. Your patriotism is quite high. Shining Starlight didn't want to deceive Joe, but his situation was really special and he couldn't say it. Moreover, if he said it, he might not believe it. You used to work hard, right? Eat more and I'll go get you a few donuts. Although it's not good to eat too many of these desserts, occasionally indulging in them is also a kind of enjoyment. Joe turned around and entered the kitchen, taking out a plate of freshly baked donuts. Joe, I'm really sorry. When I become a military horse and issue the horseshoe coins, I will definitely return them to you as soon as possible. Shining Stars revealed an embarrassed smile. You have become a military horse, and I also want to congratulate you, Shine. As for the horseshoe coin, as I said, my original intention was to use the donut I made to make the little horse happy when it was eaten. You are really a great store manager. That's right, I think so myself. Joe showed a proud expression. Sparkling with the stars, I thought about conscription tomorrow. Where to sleep tonight? Why don't we ask Joe first? See if he can stay overnight here. His face is thicker than the city wall, shining with stars. Mr. Chiao, do you know that I have just arrived in Canterbury, so I don't have much horseshoe coins and there's no place to stay. So, can I stay overnight with you? I will pay off the horseshoe coins if there is a chance. Okay, no problem, but I don't leave any idle horses in my store. You have to stay and serve as a waiter. Chiao Wei smiled and said to him. That's settled then, Joe. Shining Starlight became a waiter here, and today the business of this shop is particularly hot, not only because Joe's donuts are delicious, but also because Shining Starlight looks handsome. Inside the white pagoda of the royal palace. To be honest, Spike, I'm really not interested in making friends as they waste my study time. This purple pony, named Twilight Sparkling, said to Spike with a calm expression. I know, Twilight, but he was reading the same book with you yesterday. I think he should be very knowledgeable. This afternoon, we should go to the donut shop to have some tea, have some dim sum, and relax. It should also be good. We don't have time. Twilight Shining was about to say that she didn't have time when she saw a schedule on the table, which happened to be scheduled for this afternoon. Rest. She rolled her eyes helplessly and let out a sigh. Sigh, okay, then go ahead. As the sky gradually approached dusk, the number of ponies on the street gradually decreased. They all had their own homes to go back to, and sometimes the sparkling stars like dusk. That kind of light rendered the whole world golden, making him feel very quiet, especially in autumn, with a slight autumn wind and fiery red leaves. Shining Starlight took off the waiter's clothes and sat casually on a table, with his front hooves on the table and his head on the front hooves. He used his magic to float the book in front of him and took out Explanation of Magic Nature to read. Sometimes he would follow the explanation of magical properties and start to condense a small amount of magic on the table. This small amount of magic slowly converges and forms various shapes, constantly changing. Cubes, cones, cylinders, and after the dazzling starlight transforms these three-dimensional shapes more and more proficiently, he becomes even more difficult, such as condensing them into a simple gun. Of course, this is the mini version. Add a very long cylinder to a cone. Just as the store was about to close, the sound of Spark and Twilight talking suddenly came from the door. It seems like I came a bit late today. Fortunately, the store hasn't closed yet. Let's go quickly. Shining should be in a hurry. Spike, we don't need to be in such a hurry. I also want to take a look at that book, Introduction to Magic. A horse and a dragon slowly walked into Joe's donut shop. As soon as Twilight entered the store, he saw the sparkling starlight sitting on the table, as well as the constantly changing shape of the magical ion group in front of him. She was instantly attracted, she had never seen such magic before. She widened her eyes, opened her mouth slightly, and quickly ran towards the sparkling starlight, stopping in front of him excitedly. Hello. My name is Twilight Shining. The sparkling starlight was so captivated by reading that they didn't notice it when they entered the store. Now they only noticed it when they heard the sparkling sound of the twilight. Although the sparkling starlight had been anticipated for a long time, he was still surprised when he truly met Twilight shining. He looked at the figure of the purple pony in front of him and was instantly attracted. It was so beautiful, at least in his heart, it was the most beautiful, and it had a natural temperament, as well as those agile eyes. So beautiful. After hearing the shimmering Twilight, my head slightly lowered and a touch of pink appeared on my face, making me feel a bit shy. "Oh, thank you, this is the first time a pony has praised me. Spike mentioned you to me yesterday, so we're here today. Can we discuss the thing in front of you first?" She is very shy now, but also very excited because she can't wait to discuss the magical ion group in front of the shining stars. And Spike, who walked slowly, stood next to Joe. Spike, who was just about to say hello to the sparkling stars, gave up when he saw this. "I'm here again, Joe. Please give us a few donuts." "No problem." "And here," the sparkling starlight said. "Okay, I'm using ancient magic techniques. First, I'll guide the magic out, and then I'll use the magic to alpha magic particles. Beta magic particles and gamma magic particles can be arranged and combined according to a precise control point as long as they are above 91.555%. The three types of magic particles can be arranged in any order, such as alpha gamma alpha, for example beta gamma beta. It could also be alpha gamma beta alpha. You can also use different relative angles between two particles, which can be 30 degrees, 60 degrees, or 90 degrees. For example, for the cone in front of me, first construct a Cartesian coordinate system, and then guide three magic particles to form a group. Place the three groups in the same plane first, and let their lines form a triangle with an angle of 30 degrees. Then, perform circular motion on this triangle, then fill the rotation trajectory with this group, and infinitely enlarge the group. Infinite enlargement means that by combining multiple groups together, a macroscopic three-dimensional geometric magic is presented. Shining Starlight raised her eyebrows and looked at the Twilight with a smile on her face, as she was now so shocked that she couldn't speak. Her eyes were wide open and her mouth couldn't be completely closed. She had never seen such a unique magical insight before. On the side, Spike revealed a bitter melon face. "Oh. I should have known earlier. The nerd has met another nerd. You guys talk, I'm going to be with my donut now. Wow. You know so much," as Spike said, "you are such a knowledgeable little horse. Fortunately, I came today, otherwise I would have missed you. Do you also enjoy reading and learning magic?" "Indeed, but the books I read are quite cliché, mostly about ancient magic. Would you be willing to discuss with me the theoretical basis of ancient magic casting principles?" "Of course, Twilight." So the Twilight shone brightly, and he sat in front of the sparkling stars. "Shine, I think teleportation magic should be a magic that allows you to move at high speed, not truly achieve teleportation, because it requires a lot of magic. Recently, I have been experimenting with this magic, and fortunately, I have succeeded. First, you need to cover yourself with magic, then use your horns to guide your magic, mark or set up a magic wall where you want to go, and then teleport over, so as not to fall due to excessive inertia. Magical particles can be any kind, and then use a large amount of magic as energy to push you towards the direction of the magic wall, so as to achieve high speed movement, that is, teleportation. Oh, indeed, there is no problem doing so, but I think it should be using high-energy or universal omega magic particles. In this way, if you use teleportation magic, the consumption will be relatively low." "Yeah, why didn't I think? I can." While the two ponies were chatting passionately, Spike and Joe looked at them from the window like bitter gourds. "Do you think we should interrupt them?" "Spike, save it, Joe. I can't even persuade a bookworm, let alone two. But it's already late at night now." "Yeah, who would have thought they were chatting so enthusiastically?" Looking at the appearance of the two horses, Joe and Spike coincidentally sighed. Under the bright moon, two little horses discussed magic knowledge, extending from one knowledge point to another and expressing their own opinions. Sometimes they even started practical operations directly in the store. Joe was really worried that they might blow up his store. Both little horses felt like they had not seen each other for a long time, a feeling that Twilight had never seen before. Suddenly, the stomachs of both ponies began to growl in unison. The sparkling starlight was fine, while the Twilight shimmered with an embarrassed smile. I didn't even know that we had been chatting for so long. Your explanation really opened my eyes. Your perspective on the principles and techniques of magic is very unique and innovative. You are also in the Twilight, and being able to discuss academic topics with a knowledgeable pony like you has really benefited me a lot. Have you been working at Joe's store all along? No, I'm just staying here today. I'm going to enlist tomorrow. After hearing the shimmering Twilight, a disappointed expression appeared at first, but later it became excited again. If you become a military horse, you can often stay in the palace. I live in the White Tower next to the palace, so I can often come to see you. Twilight twinkled towards the sparkling stars, indicating that she would frequently approach him for more profound magical discussions, and then use her magic to place Spike on her back and bid him farewell. They talked for too long today. Sparkling with starlight, today he is truly intoxicated. He has confirmed that the Twilight is shining, and during this time, he is still conducting academic research in the palace's White Tower. As long as he becomes a military horse, he will often encounter her. This sense of expectation is really good. With a sparkling star and a smile on his face, he went to the bedroom that Joe had prepared for him to rest. At this moment, Twilight Shining returned to the White Tower with Spike, who had been reciting fragmented thoughts all the way. Today, her harvest was not small, as she met a knowledgeable pony. Twilight Shining, who was devoted to studying, undoubtedly found a confidant. She was very eager to have another magical academic discussion with Shining Star, and even thought that she would give a book to Shining Star the next time she met, because she found that Sparkling Starlight had little exposure to modern magic knowledge. Returning to the tower, Spike didn't stop muttering. Hey, dear nerd, we have found another nerd who neglected this weak little dragon for half a day in order to discuss academic issues related to great science. Next time, I suggest you just have a nerd party. Alright, Spike, next time I'll take you to try Joe's ultimate version of donuts. Speaking of which, I have to thank you again this time, otherwise I wouldn't have met a knowledgeable little horse like the Sparkling Star. Twilight said to Spike with a sparkling smile on its face. Considering that my good friend is shining with stars and has such a personality as a pony, I have decided to call him the Shining Idiot. It's not right to give someone a nickname casually. Spike. Upon hearing this, Spike turned his head to one side, while the twilight shone as he looked at the purple dragon with a speechless expression. However, she knew that although Spike often mocked others, he actually had no ill intentions. I thought there were no ponies in Canterbury that could teach me about magic anymore, but I was surprised that this magical pony called Sparkling Starlight had even more profound magical knowledge than any other knowledge. For Spike, if Twilight could make friends, he should be happy, but he never expected that Twilight's first friend would be a bookworm like him. He thought Twilight only loved reading. Lying in bed, the Twilight flickered and Spark whispered to each other. Alright, it's getting late. Spike, we still have to go and complete the project of the Cosmic Princess tomorrow. The twilight was shining, and as he spoke, he helped Spike use magic to make a blanket. Then he closed his purple eyes, and when he closed them, the gray pony came to mind again. He is truly magical. Even though it's our first time meeting, we still have a feeling of closeness. He seems like a very sincere friend, and there is an inexplicable understanding between us. By the way, he is really handsome, but when he talks to me, there is always a faint melancholy in his eyes. But what matters more to me is the understanding of magic knowledge, which is a completely new way of thinking. He seems to have his own ideas for every type of magic, and he is completely different from the academic horses in Canterbury. His thinking is more dynamic. And his magic seems a bit unusual. Oh, why bother with all this? I really look forward to discussing magic knowledge with him next time. Ah, finally found a kindred spirit, then, Mima is excited. The twilight was shining, and she knew she was a bit excited, so she forced herself to calm down. If I were to discuss the topic given to me by the cosmic princess with the sparkling starlight, perhaps there would be a new breakthrough with various thoughts. The twilight flickered into a dreamland. Chapter 9. Strong Enemies. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Powerful Energy Reading Premise. In order to provide readers with the best reading experience, please prepare this song, No Love, explicit. There will be prompts when using this song. The sunshine shines on Canterbury, bringing warmth to the ponies. The streets of Canterbury are very lively because today is the day of conscription, so there are many ponies in Canterbury. They all go to one place, which is the central square of Canterbury. General Edson arranged the conscription site there because there seems to be no other big place in Canterbury. Sparkling Starlight woke up early this morning, finished breakfast, and had a good sleep last night. He came down from the bedroom and saw Joe. Shining, are you going to enlist soon? Good luck to you, Joe smiled and said to the sparkling stars. Goodbye, Joe. Thank you very much for providing me with accommodation and food. Don't worry, I will come to see you frequently. The sparkling starlight also waved its hooves at Joe, responding with a smile, and then walked out of the donut shop under Joe's gaze. The sparkling starlight followed the horse flow towards the central square of Canterbury, where many small horses gathered, making it somewhat crowded. On the edge of the central square, there is a platform with several royal guard ponies and a pony that looks one head taller than the guard ponies. It is Edson, and they are organizing the recruitment of ponies. The sparkling starlight passed through layers of horses and arrived at the queue, which was very, very long, so we had to wait for the shining starlight for a while. While waiting, he intentionally or unintentionally looked around and was drawn to a white pony. The pony was a unicorn with a red scarf and a hairstyle similar to his. When he saw the pony's gaze, he was very indifferent, confident, and even had a sense of pride. By the way, there was also a sense of loneliness. The little horse seemed to have noticed the shining starlight in its sight, turned around, and suddenly met its gaze with the shining starlight. Is this the resonance between the strong? The shining starlight sensed that this little horse was not easy, so it had the idea of fighting with it, with an unconscious sense of war in its eyes. It had been a long time since he had actually fought. The little horse seemed to see the fiery glow in its eyes, but did not react too much and turned its head to one side. This little horse is interesting. Let me think about it. Can you ask the registrant in front of me later? 10 minutes. Half an hour. 1 hour. 3 hours. What the hell is that? Has it not arrived yet after waiting for so long? When the stars shine and the heart roast. The pony in front, please hurry up. The shining star looked up and realized, oh, it was me now. While waiting, he mostly simulated combat skills in his mind, so focused that he didn't even realize it was his turn. Okay, sir. Shining stars lifted their hooves and walked to the registration counter. Name. Light Star. Age. 18 years old. When the registrant asked about his age, he was almost bewildered. It seemed that he had never cared about his age. Since coming to this world, most of his energy has been devoted to learning magic. Fortunately, he reacted quickly, otherwise he would have been embarrassed. Where did it come from, Xiaoma Valley? Can there be family members? Not available. Where do you currently live? Little Ma Nan Street Donut Shop. Please gather at the Royal Palace Military Camp the day after tomorrow. Okay, sir, I would like to ask, do you know the origin of that white pony? Sparkling with starlight, he turned around and lifted a front hoof, pointing towards the spot where the white pony had just stood, but now there is no trace of that white pony. It turns out it's not there anymore. A hint of disappointment and a somewhat panicked expression appeared on his shining starry face, and he felt as if he was going to embarrass himself again. The registered pony in front of me looked expressionlessly at the sparkling stars. After listening to him finish speaking, my head tilted slightly to one side. Oh, it was once again a face paralysis exclusive to the Royal Guard. Oh, please, sir, it's just a white unicorn, slightly taller than me, with a hairstyle similar to mine, and wearing a scarf around my neck. Sparkling with starlight, he gestured with his horse hooves, pointing to his hair, then to his neck, and then showed an embarrassed smile. Boy, you're talking about the scorching spark, right? He has already gone to the military camp at this moment. A tall unicorn walked over, black-brown in color. It was obvious that this little horse was one head taller than the other Royal Guard horses, and had an imposing aura. He was wearing armor and made a metallic collision sound when walking. Hello, my name is Shining Starlight and I'm here to recruit soldiers. I saw the white pony just now. The scorching starlight seems to be very capable of fighting, so I thought. But suddenly realizing that his language seemed somewhat inappropriate, the sparkling star changed his tone. I want to have a sparring with him. My name is Edson Thomas, and I am a general in the Royal Guard 1st Squadron, so I am responsible for recruiting soldiers here. You seem to be very good at fighting, kid. General Edson made a joke. It's noon now, and the personnel in charge of recruitment are about to rest, so I have time to come over. You're really lucky, kid. Haha. Are you okay? The sparkling starlight revealed another awkward smile. Okay, since you want to find him, I'll take you there. General Edson could tell at a glance that there were two brushes to Shining Starlight, which was his intuition as a military horse for many years. General Ederson walked through the street, turned the intersection, and walked behind the royal palace to enter the military camp, which took about 15 minutes. The general arrived at a training ground with shining stars, and as expected, a white pony was training inside the training ground. That little horse is the scorching spark. Do you really want to compete with him? General Edson gave a skeptical look. Yes, I'm quite sure I want to spar with him. Blazing starfire. We have opponents. General Edson leaned his two front hooves against his mouth and made a trumpet shape, shouting loudly. The scorching spark's body trembled suddenly and turned to look at General Edson, then at the sparkling starlight. He remained silent, only nodding slightly. Ha ha ha, we have an opponent. General Edson retreated to the edge of the field, his eyes fixed on the movements of the two ponies, ready to pause the sparring anytime and anywhere, in case there was any real harm. Two little horses slowly walked together, with a distance of 10 meters, and the two horses watched like enemies they had not seen in a long time. The bodies shimmering with starlight leaned slightly downwards, making an attacking posture, but neither horse took the initiative because they were probing each other and observing the potential flaws that could be revealed at any moment. However, the shining starlight suddenly used a teleportation spell to come behind the scorching spark, and his black light flashed. His figure appeared behind the scorching spark, and in an instant, a large amount of magic power condensed on his unicorn, condensing into a magical laser, shooting towards the scorching spark. The scorching starfire's pupils shrank instantly. This guy. He never expected that shining starlight would not play according to the routine. In order to protect himself, he also used a teleportation spell. The shining magic laser hit the original position of the burning starfire station, creating a large crater and causing smoke and dust to splash everywhere. Just as the sparkling starfire wanted to see how it was, multiple magic bullets shot out from the black smoke, shooting towards the sparkling starfire in all directions. Ha, I knew it, there's no harm in smoking. I saw the left horse hoof shining in front of the starlight, stepping on the ground. A shield-shaped magic shield appeared around him, and all the white magic light bullets hit the magic shield. Sparks of magic and magic appeared on the magic shield, until the light bullets were fired and the magic shield disappeared. At this moment, the scorching spark quickly ran out of the smoke and charged towards the sparkling starlight. Does this guy want to fight me in close combat? The shining starlight also rushed towards them like scorching flames, but to everyone's surprise, they both used teleportation magic at the same time, swapping their positions. The two horses also had their pupils contracted and their mouths slightly opened, which was clearly unexpected. But the battle will not end here, and the shining starlight once again aimed at the back of the scorching flames, teleporting past. Pop! The sound of teleportation sounded, and the scorching spark quickly realized that the shining starlight was standing behind him. So he quickly condensed his magic and used a teleportation spell towards another place. Shining starlight added another teleportation spell and followed suit, so wherever the scorching spark flickers, it flickers with starlight. Burning starfire. Do you use teleportation magic without losing magic? In a series, the entire venue was illuminated by teleportation magic, and their figures quickly flickered within the venue. Sparkling starlight thought, wanting to waste time with me, you can't afford it, my magic is so much. He showed a smug expression. As the shimmering starlight teleported to the wall, a magical barrier was released, attempting to trap it there. However, the scorching spark reacted extremely quickly and quickly dodged at the first sight of the magical barrier. Bang! The magic barrier has trapped some stones. The scorching starlight breathed heavily, and the teleportation magic consumed too much of his magic. No, we can't waste it with him. He quickly scanned the surrounding environment to see if he had any advantages. Without giving him a chance, Shining Starlight used a magic ion group that quickly transformed into a gun, cold weapon, style. Shining Starlight quickly used magic to control the gun and charged towards the burning starfire. Burning starfire looked nervously at the shining star, his limbs tightly grasping the ground, fully prepared. He carefully observed the movements of the shining star. When the shining star stabbed him with a gun, and the gun was less than a few centimeters away from his head, he tilted his head and dodged in an instant. His two hooves kicked the shining star, causing the center of gravity of the shining star to lose balance and fall to the side. But will sparkling starlight really fall to the ground? Definitely not, otherwise how can one maintain their advantage? Two horse hooves clenched the gun, then used magic to prop it up on the ground, biting the gun with their mouths, pulling it back suddenly, and then releasing their mouths. The gun quickly hit the scorching spark due to its elasticity, and because of its speed, it hit his head with a blow. The scorching spark quickly retreated, his head buzzing. As the sparkling starlight adjusted its own state, it quickly charged towards the burning starfire. The burning starfire quickly recovered and ran towards the sparkling starlight. The two horses no longer intended to use magic, but rather engaged in melee combat. Kuzhuo Lai Xingho, I made a mistake again. When training in the free eternal forest, I often carry a few tons of stones while running, and my strength alone can stabilize Zhuo Lai Xingho's head. The front hooves of two ponies are facing each other, wrestling. Burning Starfire, if you want to compete with me in strength, so that you can control the initiative in melee, you have made a mistake. The scorching spark thought he could withstand the shining starlight, but he was wrong. It was only when he truly exerted his foot strength that he realized the strength of this creature was truly immense. The scorching spark quickly retreated, and he was on the verge of defeat. His brain was rapidly spinning, thinking of a solution. Suddenly, he let go and dodged to the side. The shining starlight threw itself to the ground due to excessive force. After the scorching spark dodged, it quickly turned back behind the shining star and locked its neck with its two hooves. I said you wanted to engage in close combat with me, but you made a mistake. On the shining starlight corner, the magic is drawn out and covers the entire body, and then on the outer layer of the magic, another layer of magic is covered. The outer layer of magic is suddenly ignited by the shining starlight, a scorching expedition. Bang! The powerful magic exploded, and the scorching starlight was bounced to the ground. His limbs gradually softened, and he was about to lose his strength. On the other hand, the shining starlight, on the other hand, was only slightly gasping for breath. The inner magic was exploded to protect the shining starlight itself. How is it? Come again, sparkling with a smile, he asked towards the scorching flames. No, I will definitely lose. Tip. Music can be turned off now. Zhuolai Xingho lowered his head, his eyes showing a look of unwillingness and recognition for the little horse in front of him. My name is Shining Starlight, please give me more guidance. Shining Starlight touched the hooves in front of the scorching flames, showing friendliness and concern. Nice to meet you, Shine, you are really a powerful pony. The scorching spark also smiled back. You're really outstanding, shining with stars, in all aspects. General Ederson walked over towards the sparkling stars, approached them, and applauded them. Chapter 10. Great Gifts, Part 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. What a great gift! General Edson walked slowly over and applauded the two ponies in front of him. Performed exceptionally well, Shining Boy, especially in magical applications and combat skills. General Edson smiled and said. In fact, beneath this smile was a shock that was desperately concealed. When he saw the shining stars teleporting wildly in the field, his eyes widened and his chin was startled and fell to the ground. Yes, it really fell to the ground, but he was brought back. At that time, he just wanted to shout in his heart. Is this a pony? However, in order to maintain his majestic general image, he tried his best to restrain his inner shock and then walked over with a mature appearance. After hearing General Edson's praise, Shining Starlight shyly lifted his right front hoof and scratched his silver hair behind his head, then smiled. Are you outstanding? I think it's okay, General Ederson. Shoujo, yes. Don't be humble, Shining Boy. You are very strong, this is a fact. You have learned it, Zhuolai. This is called there is a horse outside the horse, and you cannot slack off. The scorching spark standing on the side nodded and said. Yes, Shining, he is indeed very strong, but I will work hard to become stronger. It's good if you have this determination. Stronger than this kid. I'm afraid I won't be able to catch up for hundreds of years. General Edson laughed. Subsequently, the scorching spark lifted its left hoof and struck the Shining Starlight's right hoof. Binding, achieving. Goodbye, Shine. Goodbye, Burning Lie. After bidding farewell to each other, Zhuolai turned around and left. The sparkling starlight turned towards General Ederson and asked. So, General Edson, can I become a military horse directly? Looking at the white horse in front of him with a hopeful expression in his eyes, General Edson slowly spoke up. It doesn't mean that if you have strong strength, you can directly become a military horse. There must be a process to gather here the day after tomorrow, and then participate in the assessment to become a formal military horse. The sparkling starlight revealed a hint of disappointment upon hearing it. Okay, it seems like I'll have to endure another day or two of loneliness again. General Edson felt funny when he saw the white horse in front of him. You are almost as powerful as the guards of Royal Highness Princess. What are you not satisfied with? But there was another thought in his eyes. Shining Boy, I can introduce you to your Royal Highness Princess. You may become a student of your Royal Highness Princess in 2 days. Another option is to become a military horse according to your original plan. When the twinkling star heard that he could become a student of Royal Highness Princess, his eyes suddenly opened wide, and then 2 golden stars appeared. He quickly moved to General Edson's eyes and said. Really? More genuine than real gold. Great. Yahoo! Could General Edson please help me introduce myself? General Edson felt speechless when he saw the joyful expression on the pony in front of him. How could this emotional change be faster than flipping through a book? Got it, I'll definitely tell you. Then he looked up at the sky and squinted his eyes. Well, it's getting late. I have to go to work now. Good luck, shining kid. As he spoke, he turned around and walked towards the exit of the camp. Goodbye, General Edson. Looking forward to our next meeting. Seeing General Edson leave, the Shining Stars also walked out of the camp. On the way to the Canton Central Square in Canterbury, General Edson's eyes were deep. This pony called Shining Starlight was just too strong. If he could grow up, he would definitely be a hero. He would be introduced to His Highness the Royal Highness Princess. Maybe he would inherit the position of the ruler of Little Mary in the future. Just like your name, it flickers so hard for the horse to open its eyes. On the way back to Joe's donut shop, the Shining Star felt extremely happy, and the plan was more smooth than I thought. As a student of the Royal Highness Princess of the Universe, I could get more resources to learn magic, and then I could directly explode the dark fire. A steady stream of beautiful ideas emerged from the shining stars in his mind, and his footsteps became much more agile, with a soft hum in his mouth. Arriving at the doorstep of the donut shop, he pushed the door open with his front hooves, and inside, he shouted loudly. My bro. I'm back.